In this tutorial, I'll show you how to place a picture frame around a window of video using Adobe Premiere Pro CS5 and Adobe Photoshop CS5. Let's get started. In Adobe Premiere Pro, drag a video clip from the project panel to the new button at the bottom of the project panel and drop it there. Adobe Premiere Pro will create a new sequence with the correct settings to match that video clip. We'll go out to Photoshop now to create a fill layer for our photo frame. Select New, Photoshop File. Premiere Pro opens Photoshop with the correct settings to match the sequence settings that we just created. Click OK. Let's give it a name. This we'll call the frame fill and click Save. Now the canvas is the correct shape and size for the sequence that we're creating. Select File, Place, and find a file that we'd like to use to fill our frame. I'm using Rocky Frame Pattern. Click Place. Now rescale or resize that image to fill the entire canvas. This will assure that this image will fill the whole frame when we're back in Premiere. Press Enter on Windows or return on Macintosh, select File, Save, and toggle back to Premiere Pro with Alt-Tab on Windows or Command-Tab on Macintosh, and we see that the frame fill clip is now in the project panel. Drag frame fill from the project panel to any video track in the timeline higher than the track where the video background clip resides. So since we have video on 1, I'm placing our fill on video 2. We'll go out to Photoshop again. File, New, Photoshop File, OK. And ordinarily we type a file name here as well, but to save time I've already made a mat. So let's click Cancel here and simply toggle over to Photoshop with Alt-Tab or Command-Tab. And as you see, I've created a frame mat in Photoshop. You can use any of the drawing tools in Photoshop and make your mat any shape that you'd like. However, make sure to make it white. The white areas of this file are where the color fill will show through in the final product, and the checkerboard areas of this file are where the video will show through. Select File, Save, and then toggle back to Premiere Pro with Alt-Tab on Windows, Command-Tab on Macintosh, and you'll find the frame mat file that we just created in the project panel. Drag frame mat from the project panel to any video track in the timeline that's higher than the other two. I'm dropping mine in video 3. The program monitor now shows us a white frame around a colored pattern. We still need to apply special effects to make this all come together. In the effects panel, in the Find field, click Track. Type the word Track. Scroll down to Track Mat key and drag Track Mat key from the effects panel onto the frame fill clip, which in my case is on video 2. In the Effect Controls panel, click the triangle next to the Track Mat key, and in the Mat menu, select the video track where your frame mat is sitting. So my frame mat is on video 3. I select video 3 here, and the program monitor shows us that we're now getting what we set out to get, which is a video window surrounded by a frame that has a fill color in it. We can make this a little bit more three-dimensional by adding some additional effects. Come back to the Effects panel. In the Find field, type Bevel and scroll down to Bevel Edges. Drag Bevel Edges from the Effects panel onto the frame fill clip, in my case on video 2, and as you see, that creates a three-dimensional bevel. In the Effect Controls panel, click the triangle next to Bevel Edges, and you can play with the thicknesses and so forth until you get a bevel that you like. Similarly, come back to the Effects panel, and in the Find field, type Drop. Scroll down to Drop Shadow. Drag the Drop Shadow effect from the Effects panel onto the frame fill clip. Again, in my case, it's video 2. And in the Effect Controls panel, click the triangle next to Drop Shadow, and of course you can play with any of the controls for the drop shadow distance and softness and so on and so forth. So that pretty much brings us there. We've got a frame around video where the frame matte and the frame fill were created in Photoshop, and all of this was superimposed in Premiere Pro. Now if you'd like, you can also create a fill that itself is moving. You would use a video clip instead of a still image for the fill areas of the frame. And if you'd like the details on that, see Adobe Premiere Pro Help. Go to the help page about the track matte key effect and you'll get the details there. I hope this tutorial works for you. Thank you for joining me.